Hello, my name is Envision Ace, and this is my updated guide to the booping life. This is relevant as of the open beta, patch number 0.4.1. This guide is going to have two separate topics. The first topic is going to be the boopable or interruptible behemoth attacks. The second part of the guide is going to be the weapon attacks that are capable of booping. The first behemoth family we're looking at is the Embermane family. Its boopable attacks are the charge attacks. It has a long dash, with the tail of being Embermane drops its lower body and wags its tail in the air, and a short dash, which the tail is a dash away from the player and then a dash back towards the player. You could find Embermane located at the Tier 1 island Sheltered Frontier, the Tier 3 island the Yonder Keys, and the Tier 5 island of the Maelstrom. The second behemoth we are looking at is the Shrike family. Shrike has two boopable attacks, the first of which is a single glide. The tell for this single glide is that Shrike will yell and then run away from the player. The second attack is a flying glide. This is a multi-glide. This also only happens when Shrike is enraged. If you miss the boop on the first pass of the multi-glide, do not feel bad, because he'll come back around and you could try again. Shrike can be found at the following locations: on the Tier 1 island, Sheltered Frontier, the Tier 2 island, Monstrous Verge, and the Tier 3 island, the Yonder Keys. The third behemoth we are looking at is the Quillshot family. Quillshot's boopable attack is the Enraged Quillfire. This boop is a damage threshold, meaning that the player and or the team must do enough DPS to Quillshot's head in order to interrupt the attack. The tell for this attack is when Quillshot stops moving and tenses up his body. An easy way to interrupt this attack is when Quillshot first enrages. Quillshot always fires an enraged Quillshot upon enragement, so the player and the team can simply stand at Quillshot's head and DPS to get an easy boop. Quillshot is located at the Tier 2 island, the Monstrous Verge, the Tier 3 island, the Yonder Keys, and the Tier 5 island, the Maelstrom. The fourth behemoth that we are looking at is the Skarn family. Skarn has two boopable attacks. The first is the Tornado attack, which any damage interrupts it. The tell for the Tornado is that Skarn will split both his left and right side rocks apart from his body and then start to spin. The second attack is the Standing Stomp. This is a DPS threshold interrupt. The tell for the Standing Stomp is obviously Skarn will stand up on his hind legs. Skarn is located on the Tier 2 island, the Monstrous Verge, and the Tier 3 island, the Yonder Keys. The fifth behemoth of the video is the Ragetail family. Not to be confused with normal Gnasher, as normal Gnasher does not have the quad slide I'm about to explain. Ragetail's boopable attack is the quad slide. Ragetail will slide 4 times towards a random slayer. The slides are interruptible at any time during the slide as long as the player hits the head. The tell for the quad slide is when Gnasher will jump inside the air. Be careful though, there's two different slides. There's a single slide and then the quad slide. The single slide is not boopable. You can find Ragetail on the Tier 5 island of the Maelstrom. This could be both normal Maelstrom and heroic Maelstrom. The next behemoth we're looking at is the Skraev family. Skraev is very much similar to Shrike. Skraev has a single boopable attack that mimics Shrike's single glide attack. The tell, just like Shrike, is that Skraev yells and then dashes from the player and then glides towards the player. Skraev's only location currently is the Tier 3 island of the Yonder Keys. The next behemoth we're looking at is the Stormclaw family. Stormclaw is supposed to have 3 boops. The first boop is a dash. The tell is that Stormclaw will pause, pounce on his hind legs, and then lunge towards the player. The second attack is during the Aether phase. It is an electrical dash, and it is currently bugged. The tell for this is that Stormclaw will run from you and then turn to dash towards you, much like Embermane. The third boop is what I would consider a mini boop. It is a reflection attack of the Electro Balls. You can knock the Electro Balls back towards Stormclaw. Currently, Stormclaw's only location is on the Tier 4 island of the Uncharted Reach. The next behemoth I'm looking at is the Pangar family. Pangar has a single boopable attack. That attack is Pangar's roll. The tell for the roll is that Pangar will lean to the one side, and then curl into a ball and then roll towards the player. The player is able to boop at any point during the roll as long as the player hits the front of the Pangar. Pangar's locations is on the Tier 4 island of the Uncharted Reaches, and then the Tier 5 Maelstrom. The next behemoth we're looking at is the Kharabak family. Kharabak has a single boopable attack. It is during his Aether phase. You can tell Kharabak's in his Aether phase while his wings are shimmering blue. The tell for this attack is that Kharabak will leap into the air slightly and then dash forward. Kharabak can be located on the Tier 4 island, the Uncharted Reach, and the Tier 5 island of Maelstrom. The final behemoth of the video is the Shrowd family. Shrowd has a single boop, and it's during his enraged state. The boop is a single glide, and the tell is that Shrowd will pause, yell, and then dash away from the players before turning around and then gliding towards the players. To tell that Shrowd is enraged, Shrowd will jump into the air, spawn a fireball, and then spawn a big orb around everyone in the party. The orb is around everyone individually, so spread out so you can find Shrowd fast. Shrowd's only location currently is the Tier 5 Maelstrom. Shrowd also only has a heroic version. Now that all the behemoths are out of the way, I'm going to go over some team hunting tips. The first tip is against charging or gliding behemoths. The team wants to stack together while in a line or balled up together. This makes it so that the behemoth will move towards the person attempting to boop, and thus making it easier to boop. The second tip is against attacks that require a damage threshold to be met. Again, you want to stack at the behemoth's head. This will allow for everyone in the team to stack damage against the threshold to boop the incoming attack. Okay, now that we got the behemoths out of the way, let's move on to the fun part, the weapons. The first weapon is going to be the hammer, and the attacks that are capable of booping are the left and the right clicks. The left clicks, every combo that has a left click is able to boop. Now the right click, that's where the fun begins. You have many options for the right click. You have the single shot standing, the single shot jumping, and the blast escape, which is omnidirectional. The difficulty for booping with hammer is quite easy. As long as you line up the behemoth, you can get that boop really easy. My personal recommendation is the right click jumping or the blast escape. Now, why would you want to choose the jumping right click compared to the standing right click? That is because the jumping attack comes out faster than the standing attack. The second weapon we're looking at is the Warpike. This is my favorite support weapon now that Chainblades are in the current state. Warpike is an overall great support build. Not only can it add to wound damage, thus making your teammates hit harder, but it's very good at booping. The attacks that are capable of booping are the left click roll attacks, the right click roll attack, and the right click combo finisher. The attack that makes Warpike great at booping is the Q ability, because it's a ranged boop. All you have to do is aim and fire. Warpike's difficulty is on par with the hammer being easy. My recommended attack for booping is the Q ability. The next weapon we're looking at is the sword. It's a good all-arounder weapon, both good for DPS and for booping. The boop capable attacks for the sword are any of the left clicks, any of the right clicks. It is possible to boop with the Q ability, however it requires the weighted strike cells. The amount of cells needed is currently unknown for me, because I do not have enough cells to test it myself. The difficulty for sword is higher than both hammer and Warpike at medium. This is because sword has a small attack radius. My attack recommendations to boop is the left click as it comes out faster than the right click, and the Q ability if you have the cells. The next weapon we're looking at is the axe. This is my go-to weapon due to the high DPS potential. The attacks that are capable of booping are any of the left click attacks, any of the right click attacks, and the Q ability. With the Q ability, the axe head must hit the behemoth at the boop point. Now the difficulty for boops is the highest it could possibly be, as the axe swings very slowly. My recommended attacks for the axe is the left click, as it is a swing, and you swing behind you, you could potentially hit the behemoth behind your character. Or the rolling R, or the rolling L. The final weapon we are looking at is the Chainblades. These used to be my babies back in the closed beta. By default, Chainblade does not boop. In order to boop, the player must socket a total of +6 in weighted strikes. After the player has slotted the weighted strikes, the only attack I would suggest trying to boop with is the right click. The right click makes the difficulty for Chainblades the absolute easiest in the game. It is a long range attack and it's very quick. The only thing difficult about this weapon and booping is the cell farming. Okay, before I truly go into my outro, I just want to say a few bits of information. That's regarding the game's cell system. Right now it's very difficult to farm cells after you've reached the level caps within the reputation system. That being said, that's the reason why I don't have +6 in the weighted strike cells. After I properly farm the +6, I plan on making individual weapon guides for the behemoths, their attacks, and when to boop them with each specific weapon. So look forward to those videos. I'm Envision Ace. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, subscribe for more. In the future I plan on doing more Dauntless videos.